BassResinator here. I have quite a few things out here. Julie Cuts faceted crystals, flowery numbers, and a heart. Well, what is this all about? I've already got my resin mixed up. This is Bondcrafter 1-to-1. And I got red dye in here. Still got a lot of bubbles. Hopefully I'll be able to pop them. I've got chameleon flakes that I'm not going to use quite yet, but I'm going to use the purple pink. I've got a heart mold, a standing heart mold, and that's where I'm going to put most of that clear. This weekend, my wife and I will be celebrating our 40th wedding anniversary. Wow. So, to celebrate 40, the traditional gift is rubies. I looked it up, that's why I know this. So, I want to get faceted heart. And I put this through the vacuum chamber. It was not wanting to work. The clear worked fine, but this red didn't work real well. So I got hearts. There's these teardrop shape. And I want both halves because I'm going to stick them together in this round one here. So after this cures up, I will glue them together. I'll get to those in just a bit. Now, pour the clear in here. Don't want to fill it too deep, because I don't want it to flash. And these number things, these flowery numbers, I can't fill too full because there's a spot where I can put a stick in there. Well, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to have any sticks. But since I'm doing 40, what I thought I would do is I used this resin, and there are flowers on here. So I'm going to drop a bit of this, and this is probably going to stain the mold, but that's okay. It's going for a good purpose here, eh? I mean, 40 years. When we first got married, I don't think either one of us was thinking 40. I mean, I don't know why we wouldn't. We should have. Because both of our parents were married more than 50 before they passed on. So, no reason to suspect why we shouldn't make it there, huh? Now, what I want to do is just pour this clear that's about as far as I can go. One more drop. And that's it, because otherwise I'm going to end up having it spill out. And that would not be good. Not much left in there, so I'll just pour it in there. And I'll come back. Boy, those are not very red, you know. Looks more orange. Why can't it look this red? And Bubble City, I don't know what the deal is. Okay, I will come back to you when it comes time to sticking those in, and then we're going to go in there, and then we're going to go deep pour. So I use the Bondcrafter resin for this set, and then we're going to go deep pour. So I'm going to keep it clear, and I'm going to have things floating around in the heart. Okay, we'll see ya. Well, that cured up a bit, the thing in the heart. Those others, I put them out on the heat mat, and they cured really fast. And then I put those chameleon flakes inside, so they have a shiny. And I've got 12 ounces of deep pour resin that I've got in the vacuum chamber right now. These are still not ready to go, so I'm going to go put those on the heat mat, and we'll go from there. But yeah, it's going to be cool. Okay, well, I got this through the vacuum chamber, and the roundish one sort of sank a little bit, but that's okay because it was sitting up about 1/4 of an inch, maybe a little for almost 1/2 an inch. So a little sinkage is fine, just as long as it doesn't go all the way to the bottom. Okay, so don't know how far 12 ounces is going to go. There's some bubbles coming out where apparently I didn't stick them together perfectly, so it had an air pocket, but it's releasing, which is nice. And that did not fill it all the way up, but it doesn't have to. You know, it's going to be a chunk anyway. And I'll just keep watching these bubbles come up. And if the 4 and 0 cure up enough before this gets tacky or anything, I can set them and let them go down anyways. Yeah. Okay. Well, don't tell her what's going on, of course. By the time this airs, she will have already seen this. But, gotta celebrate with this woman, this lady. I met her at church camp when I was 12, and I told her then I was going to marry her. She thought I was weird. Now, she can tell you her side of the story, but she thought I was kind of strange and had nothing to do with me. Part of the deal is my parents were missionaries. We lived 1,700 miles away. So we carried on this relationship long distance, and I would like to get up to that camp every summer, but my parents had a schedule of every other summer, which didn't fit into my plans of being with her. So it took a while for me to convince her that she should be mine. There's some bubbles hanging around right there. Hoping there's no bubbles underneath those. And if there are, hopefully they'll just rise to the top. But anyway, what caused me to be attracted to her And you guys may think this is really strange. But we were at camp, teenagers, or I was a preteen, and at the end of, we had this campfire down by a lake, and they divided us up into family groups, smaller groups, because it was a pretty good sized camp. I mean, there was probably 60 or 70 of us there. And so they divided us into smaller groups. Well, she was in my group. I had no clue who she was. But we did this thing called sentence prayer, which is the leader would start it, and then he'd squeeze the person's hand next to him to let them know it was their turn. And you would just say a sentence. You didn't have to say a whole long prayer, so nobody got freaked out with, I gotta pray in public. You know, nobody. So it was a way to get kids not afraid to pray. And she was standing right next to the leader. So she prayed. And I was on the other side of the circle. Still didn't know her. And then when you were done praying, you'd squeeze the hand next to you, and then they could pray, or they could, if they didn't want to pray, they would just keep squeezing until it got around all the way back to the leader, and then the leader would have a closing prayer. So it was kind of a nice thing. And it got around to me, and I was standing directly opposite from the leader. So there was about 8 people between the lady who would become my wife and myself. And so I prayed, and then I squeezed the hand next to me, and she prayed again, all the way across from the other side. What? Boy, that got my attention. I'm like, you can do that? This person must be the one for me. And so that's when I told her. Well, 12 years later, we got married at that camp. So how's that for a love story? Now, she may have other details that she would like to fill in, but she's not running this video thing, so. She goes, you always go off and make up, not make up, but I elaborate, or anyway. Come back to you when it's time to unmold this. Hopefully the numbers will be down in there too. Okay, we'll see you. You're probably looking down at this and you're like, hey, where's the heart? It's still curing. One of the things about where the camp where my wife and I met, and also where we got married, is there's this big stone arch out in the front. It says Rock Lake Christian Assembly. So I thought I would get stones from up in Michigan. These are all stones from the Great Lakes. And I made them into an arch. They're held together by UV resin. But I'm going to make a base. And I'm going to use some colors sort of like the seashell technique, but it's not going to flip over. So hopefully it's going to look good on this side. But I'm going to use ocean white, sapphire blue resin dye, sky blue resin dye, and interference blue powder. And I'm just waiting for the resin that's in the vacuum chamber. So I'll go get it, and then I'll come back and mix. Okay, here's the sapphire blue. And when I started mixing, I introduced bubbles, but I'm trying to hurry because I've got a lot of resin here and I don't want it to seize up on me. Now this camp where we went, or where we met, is on a lake, and so my wife loves water, and so I thought this would be the ideal thing to celebrate. And then one of the things about Michigan is see, I didn't mix it all the way up because I was afraid I was going to introduce too many bubbles. the state soil. I don't know who in the world came up with this concept. Some congressman probably trying to make a name for himself. Is sand. So here's the sky blue. What I'm going to do after I pour all of this is I'm going to put a little bit of sand instead of shells and such. Now, this is a pretty good sized tray, but I want something to hold on so that this doesn't go crashing apart. And now I come in with the white. I mixed up 16 ounces. I'm not sure how much this tray holds, but I'm sure it's right around that. And I didn't mix all the white up perfectly. And then the blue interference, and I added 1 drop of the sapphire blue into this to give it even a more bluish effect. It's really pretty. And I have some clear to push it out, and then hopefully it'll come back some. And then after a while I'll come back and add the sand. But by doing this, it should hold the rocks together. Well, this is definitely a push. Get all the way over here. I really hope she likes this. Can't say I didn't try, huh? Okay, we got to here, almost to there. Yeah. Let me get my torch out. I'm going to go around the edge just to make sure there are no bubbles trying to hang out. Because if anybody's going to find that bubble, it'll be my wife. And then she'll let me know. It's too sharp. Ooh, don't want to knock over the rocks. And then, after all is said and done, oh, this is already starting to look pretty here. With that much white, I can go in with calligraphy, with some pen, and write RLCA, which is Rock Lake Christian Assembly, where we got married, and established 1985, because that's the year we got married. There's a little bit of this sky blue left. No reason letting this go to waste. It's pouring awfully slowly. That must mean it's getting really hot. Still have a little bit of the sapphire and a little bit of the interference, but the white's all gone. And a little bit of clear. And then I'll be able to put the heart underneath the arch. How's that sound? Huh? Too romantic? Not romantic enough? Romancing the Stones. For any of you that remember that movie. You were Joan Wilder. Okay. That'll do it. I'll see you when it comes time to put this all together. Bye. I want to let you see the heart and how it came out. Really, really, really pretty. And that's going to go right underneath the arch. Now, you can't see it really well right now, but that's where it's going to go. But I need to do some writing, and then after I get it under the arch, then I'm going to put a layer over. After I do some my writing on here, then I'm going to put that in, and then I'm going to seal it, put a seal coat over the top, and then we should be done. Yeah. I've got my Let's Resin acrylic paint marker, and I'm going to hopefully not mess up, because this seashell effect or technique that I put in here, it looks really cool from this side. I got the sand here, but look at those little ripples. It looks really cool. Okay, here we go. Switch to the other smaller point. Oh, come on now. That's not wanting to write. Well, let me go on the edge then with this bigger one, bigger point. Do I want to go the same color? Can you see the little shadows of the writing down onto the going below that? Looks really cool. I'll just go a straight block font. There we go. Okay, one of a kind. Red color because this is supposed to be the ruby anniversary. Traditionally, that's what it is. Okay, now I need to mix up. It was 16 ounces there. I think I'll mix up 10 ounces this time. Okay, I'll be right back. Well, I didn't like the way I had done Rock Lake Christian Assembly on 2 lines, so I got some alcohol on that paper towel and wiped it off and did it so that it's all on 1 line. I just had to, because I started here, so I just needed to get it outside the names. So I've got the resin in the vacuum chamber right now. That's what I'm waiting on. But I just wanted you to see that. And then I got to figure out something, because you don't need to see everything that's behind this on the desk. But I want you to see this from, instead of looking straight down, I want you to see it from this perspective. So I'll figure out something to go back there to cover my mess, and then you'll be able to see it after a bit. Let me get that resin now. Okay, here we go. I want to go over that rock a little bit right there. And then over on this one too. I got the same kind of rock on the bottom. And they're kind of dull. So Maybe get a little bit of resin on them, get some shine going. Let me see if I can get some of that, because I could not get. There we go. And then if it wants to roll off, that's fine, but it'll maybe leave it a little bit shinier. Let's see how we're doing. Just a couple bubbles here and there around the edge. Oop. Bumpity bumpity. Now, one thing I like to do, not I like to do, I lack to do, is in order to get that heart to stick down really well, lift it up and then let that resin underneath it. It's got a suction on there right now. There we go. Now it wants to just float around. No. Maybe I should have just left it, because now I wanted to float. Good grief. And then I got some resin on there. Well, let's get that off. little bit of resin on my finger, didn't realize it. I mean, on my glove. Don't want to have that marring the finish. There, got that off. Don't move. Stay. Okay, I'll get you down at a better level so you can see the whole thing from a different perspective. Okay, there we have the information. With that rock structure and the heart underneath. I hope she likes this. Hope. Okay. I'm not going to say we'll see you for the unmold. I'll see you for the closing pictures. What do I mean by that? I will have already taken it out of this tray mold, and I'll set it out on the table and get some pictures of it that way. Yeah. Let me know what you think. If you are a subscriber of mine, thank you so very much. I really appreciate your support. If you're not, it's really easy. Just go down to the bottom of this video area and click the button that says subscribe. Right next to it, there's a button that says, it doesn't say anything, it's a bell icon. Click that and you'll be notified anytime I do something new. Look at those waves right there. It looks cool. I also have channel memberships available if you are interested in that. There's 2 levels, Blue Bonnet level and the Indian paintbrush. Yeah, stick around for the parting shots. We'll see ya. Bye.